Hey there, folks. Time to do a kind of unusual retro CSS battle. This is for May 31st, 2025, and this is one that I did record a video for, and I got to 100%. However, the target has changed. You'll note when we look at the slide and compare, in mine they are not aligned because this divot here on the top and this were not in alignment on the original target. The target was changed. Not enough people got to 100% is my understanding, and when that happens, CSSBattle.dev makes the decision to sometimes change it, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. I'm not super excited about the change, but I would like to have done a video for the target as it is now. You can go back and look at the original video if you'd like. And in the interim, here's what the diff looks like, and you can see that significant difference. And the approach that I took with the 4 different elements really was very much tuned to each individual to the puzzle. So if I were to do it today, I would do it in a different way. Simple as that. So if that's the case, let's see what we need to do to create this new and improved puzzle. All right, so start it very similar to how I started it before, and I feel like I want 2 linear gradients, one that's top to bottom and one it's left to right. So let's create a background that's all dark, and I want to do the inner, in this case, the inner plus sign, right? Yes, we will need to do a 45-degree angle for the other one, but let's just start it. So we need margins 5, 6, 7, and we need a height 5, 6, 6, and then margins 110, 12. All right. So if I want a linear gradient top to bottom, so let's say 100 pixels, 0. Okay, so that first top to bottom, 2, 3, 4. So it's 40 tall. I'm going to set that background like that, and actually I'm going to set it to be 50% 0, and then 20 pixels wide, and then repeat Y. Okay, and what's that means? So that's the background in the background. If I give it a width, or give it a height rather, 80 pixels, it'll repeat. There we go. 80, is it 120? 120. And then if I do the sideways one, it's going to be very, very similar. I'm going to add 90 degrees. And it's going to have these positions flopped. It'll be 0 and 50%, and 120 pixels and 20 pixels, I think. And then it's repeating on the x-axis. Boom. Very similar. If we do a second one, and somehow I copied and pasted an extra style tag there. So this will be the second one, P plus P, rotate 45 degrees. And transform, translate 0 minus 100 pixels, something like that. Sure, 2, 3. Oh, so that's not exactly what we want. How about minus 100 pixels, minus 100 pixels? So if this is precisely the same element, well, it's a little different, right? Well, how about 150? 150? So that pattern is telling me that what I would like to do then is what? I want to do a var. So let's do K for, I don't know what that is, 150 pixels. But basically we need the same number twice. So while we're figuring it out, we'll do a var dash dash K and var dash dash K. Okay. Well, I need the var, not just that. There we go. Cool. Okay. 6, 7, 6. There it is. So that's what that would be. So I need to make it bigger, right? Now I could scale it. I say scale 1.2, but that's going to make this a little bit bigger, right? So if I do 0.4, if I do 1.5, you can kind of see that that's making the background also bigger. And maybe we could use that, but then we would need to variabilize some of these sizes, right? So what I would like to do is set a variable for the height of the background. Var, so dash dash, I'm going to call it H, is 120 pixels. And I'm going to set that var H. And I should get an identical appearance. Boom. Okay, so gotta get rid of the scale. And so now it's got to be bigger. So I kind of feel like what I want to do is then set margins. So let's not do the rotate. If that, okay, so what do we want? We want to do 160. Okay. All right, so if we change these margins, it's the side margins that deter, or we need the height to be different. And we could fake that with, well, we can just set the height, right? Let's set height 200. Height 200, and then that K is going to be, what is it going to be? I don't know. We're going to find out. Okay. Yeah, so height needs to be a variable. Var dash dash, and here's where the naming has hit me. Var of, and we're going to rename this to be the B, and then B, and then height. We'll call it 200, like that. And then this margin is going to be less. How about 82? And I've created a mess. I'm not seeing anything. This is somehow invalid. Yeah, so it's B. This B is, there's your number. There's the translate. So it's 120, and then the size of the background is so it's K. We need it to be, so I've just got everything wrong here. K is that. All right, what do we got now? I feel like I've changed. So hit the lesson. The lesson is I've changed too many things too quickly and lost track. So B is 120, 120. Yes, that is the background height and size. So it's from the top of this to this repeat point, and from this side to this repeat point. And then the height, we've got 160. That's the correct number. I guess what I could do while I'm sorting this out is I can do margin 0 auto, set the height, and then aspect ratio 1 while I'm figuring this out. And then I can do some numbers here. 50, okay. So this helps a little. 6, 7. Okay. So now when I set the height to be different, okay. And I'm going to do a background of red so I can see the darn thing. There it is. Whoops. Yeah, so we can see it. Okay. 200 minus K minus K. There we go. All right. So I think that size is not big enough to 10, 20, 30, 240. 240 could be right. And that's great for us. Okay, so let's change that background. If it's 240, then that size of -b is 200 pixels, I think. There we go. And I think indeed it is. Okay, so I'm going to undo that margin. Great. And then that translate is close to being correct, but not quite. How about 10, 9, 18, 188, 89, 90, 91, 92, 91. All right, let's submit that. See if we got it. All right, now we're going to normalize some of these crazy numbers that we come up with. Okay, so that's a solution. We've now solved it. A lot of hemming and hawing there, but the principle of the thing applies. So height and width are both this height. Height, we'll say 160, and then we'll say width is var --h, and we don't need a default because we're setting it, and that works. That's good. That margin is 70 auto. We're not setting a margin now. We're just going with a default. We only are setting margin in one place. We got two variables we're setting. So one thing we could do is if we set this as pixels, we can do that size B as a calc. Is this good? Var. It's more code, but I kind of want to show it to you because it's pretty cool. So by doing this as a calc, we know what the size of the element is, and so that repetition is going to be 40 less because that's the height of this guy, and that's a very useful thing to think about. That gives you flexibility. If we made another one, we could get, we can repeat the same code and get interesting effects. We rotate each one, you got interesting patterns. Anyway, so that's a calc, and yeah, it's a bunch of code, but I like it. All right, we get the height, we get the width, great. Margin, there's the H, there's the B, and then there's the K, which gives us our translate. And strictly speaking, we don't need these variables anymore. We can just do the -191, or yeah, are we still good? Yeah, we're still good. We'll go click, -191, -191. Click, and I don't think that there's a difference if this is first or second. Oh, there is. Oh, no, there isn't. Yeah, so there's no difference there. What else? What other changes can we make? I think that's it. Let's resubmit. So again, that's an update. I'm going to minify, and probably the calc is going to be broken. I don't think that my white space filter fixes that. Oh, we got a repeat that's broken. There we go. All right, so then unit replace and submit, and I think that's a final. So that's a fun one. I think that asymmetrical, like I said in the original video, I think that asymmetrical, or I said it a few days later when I first saw it, like that so few had gotten a solution to it. I think an asymmetrical solution for something like this, or a target for something like this, is kind of interesting because it makes you, well, it forces your hand in terms of technique. Like, what are you going to do? Can you add a gradient? Can you add a whole new element? Can you do basically this and then like erase, right? Add another element over top of it and then move it around. Like it forces you to do some interesting stuff, and I think that's pretty cool. Last final things. Is there anything? Yeah, height, var. That's good enough. That's a fun one. I certainly enjoy a challenging asymmetrical puzzle, and I also enjoy a symmetrical puzzle. So hope you enjoyed this unusual revisit of a target for me. I know that there are a bunch that are at 90 that I'm stuck at 99.9%, that I have not gone back and revisited, but I may yet. They tend to be pretty tricky ones, so I don't know how fun they are to watch, but I go look at them sometimes, and I definitely go look at battles, right? So if you go to CSS Battle, the site, and go to the battles are really good fun, and I don't record videos for any of those. I just feel like it's not something I want to do, but these shapes are just so fun and challenging and inviting. Some of these I have revisited and struggled with, and they're just a lot of fun. I hope you get a chance to try those out. There's always a new battle. So, all right. Hope you enjoyed this. Have a great day. Go make a webpage. Be cool to each other.